there, Flosstube. I am back. This is Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates, and I'm here to show you a whole bunch of goodies. I have a couple finishes, I have whips, I have haul, and I have my Mania plans. So lots to share with you today, lots of goodies. I want to thank you if you're returning to my channel for coming back. If you are new, welcome, and I hope you enjoy what you see here today. I enjoy sharing my stuff, and hope you do too. I get very excited about everything, and I'm glad I have this opportunity to share it. I want to thank everybody for their kind comments. I really like the friendships that I'm forming here, and it's a very special community, and I know I keep saying that, but I'm constantly wowed by the generosity that is shown amongst this community. So I'm honored to be a part of it and that you're joining me here today. Let's see, I hope you enjoyed that little slideshow that I put at the front of the video. It is blooming time in the desert in Arizona, and so it was really gorgeous. Hopefully that all showed up okay, and the little clip that I did of the walk we took, my in-laws, they live in Sun City Grand in Surprise, Arizona, so it's this huge retirement community, and there's a walking path around the perimeter of it, so that's where Mike and I were walking, and hope you enjoyed that little walk with us and picture of all the pretty flowers in bloom. It was a gorgeous week. It was a great time visiting his parents. We always have a lot of fun together. Went too fast in the sunshine, and then it was time to come home. Yeah, we won't talk about that. Had a wonderful time at the attic. Wow, what a store. I have some haul here to share with you. It was really cool to meet McKenna and talk to her a little bit about projects and stuff. I meant to take pictures of some of the stuff in the store, and I have to admit I totally forgot. I was so wowed by all of the models and the samplers. Just a stunning place. I did not buy very much considering how much I wanted to buy, but I've started a Christmas list, so that's always fun too, and I made Mike take a picture. So anyways, we'll get to a little bit of that. We are still waiting on news of a job. Let's see. Yeah, still waiting to hear back from Germany. Hopefully this week, but things move slowly in the government. That's the only thing I can say, I guess. Mike was turned down for one of the jobs he applied for in Hawaii. He heard from the interviewer and selection official that she still really wants to get him out there. The reason she didn't pick him for that job is because there was somebody who was more qualified, which is, totally fine. There was another job that she had just listed that Mike had actually seen and favorited that she thinks he would be perfect for. So she was hoping that he would apply for that, which he did. That back and forth all kind of happened on Friday. Then she sent him another email yesterday describing more about the job and when they hope to get somebody out there. So she's very interested in Mike. So it's looking like Hawaii is a good possibility if Germany doesn't come through. I'd still prefer Germany. I would love to be in the middle of Europe and just tour through Europe for as much as we can in the 3 years that we'd be there. Having said that, though, with the weather being as gray, no, it's actually sunny today. I just still don't think it's very warm out there, but it's been cold and gray again here. So Hawaii is looking very appealing. So wherever we end up, we're not going to be staying in Maryland. Have I said that before? I feel like I've said that before. I've been very depressed this week because of all this. So I'm in a mood. I'm not as in a bad a mood as I was. And Mike may be wondering in here any minute. He will be getting off work at 12:30, so he was in at like 4 or 4:30 this morning because he couldn't sleep. So he'll be getting off around 12:30. So he may wander in and say hi at some point. I hope that's okay. It's my channel. It's okay. Let's see. While I was in, I wanted to ask Michelle, Garrett, if you watch this, Just out of curiosity, are there any LNSs on Oahu? Or did you have to send away for all of your stitching stuff? Curious minds want to know. Let's see. I didn't watch much Flosstube. Didn't watch any Flosstube while we were in Arizona. So I'm once again a week behind. I didn't get a I'm still catching up on the people I'm subscribed to, so I haven't had a chance to search out any new people. My new subscribers, I know there are several of you that have videos yourselves, so I'm planning to go through my subscribers and jump on your videos so I can check you out. So yeah, I'll get there. I'm watching a lot of Flosstube. I did see though that the Addicted Sisters, I'm a week behind, but I did see that last week the Addicted Sisters did mention me in their video, and I really appreciate that. Like you said, it gives you a little thrill, and yeah, that happened. So thank you so much for mentioning me. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, the giveaway, my little chart that I had done of the Dear Santa, I Can Explain. Let's see, Kay Walker is the winner of that. I did the random YouTube generator thingy, and Kay's name came up. So I've already commented on Kay's comment on my last video, but Kay, and I put my email there, so Kay, if you will get in touch with me, I will get that in the mail to you. Let's see, so I wanted to share, because I feel like I'm really out of touch, because I was away for a week and I stitched, but I didn't really converse much online. But I did see yesterday a friend of mine, and this is so funny. So, story time. A friend of mine that I worked with back in the late 80s, early 90s, taught me to knit. So a friend from work taught me to knit. And I quit work in 2005. And she had actually met and worked with my husband at some point after that, but we totally lost touch, and then Mike lost touch with her, and she retired, etc., etc. You lose touch. So I probably haven't been in touch with Trish since early 2000s. I've started to connect with some of the local Maryland stitchers, and actually the local, more like in my part of Maryland, stitchers. Got on the local Maryland Stitcher Facebook group, and we started to talk about having a get-together. And so we were private messaging on Facebook. There was like 2 or 3 of us. And one of the ladies said, well, I'm going to, I know Trish wanted to join, so let me go, join Trish in on this conversation, on this group conversation. And at that point, I didn't know what Trish they were talking about. And so she comes on and she starts talking back and forth with some of the ladies, and then she responds to me or says something to me and says, oh, Jan, how are you doing? I see that Mike's back at work and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who is this person? Because her name is Trish Hoffman now, and she was married. She got remarried, so I didn't know her by that name. And so I went and looked at her Facebook page, and it's the Trish that taught me to stitch, or taught me to knit. And we were also very bad influences on each other in the stitching world too. And I was just flabbergasted that after all these years, we've hooked up again, and we've been messaging almost every day about stitching stuff and knitting stuff. We're getting together for dinner on Saturday. I can't tell you how tickled I am about this. And so I guess this is just a long story to say, a lot of bad things are going on with Facebook these days, and a lot of frustrations and people dropping off of Facebook. I, for one, won't leave, because it has connected me with not only new friends, but friends I've met online years ago that we met in person and became very close friends. This was in the digital scrapbooking world. All of you people, high school friends that I had lost touch with that were reconnected, and then something like this with Trish. So, yeah, as much bad as there is, there's also an awful lot of good. So, hi Trish, I hope you're watching. I will tell you to watch. So, anyways, that was kind of a fun little thing that happened this week. The other thing, the new thing, well, okay, so that was actually to lead into this. She had asked me if I had done any long dog samplers yet. And I told her that I just recently started Hoity Toity, and I went to the long dog site to grab a picture there to show her, just in case she didn't know what Hoity Toity was. And in doing so, I saw that they have a new sampler that they just released sometime this spring, and I hadn't seen it before, so I don't know whether you guys have or not. It's called Quilts. I want to try and get this so that there is no glare. So, band sampler basically with all these little motifs of quilts and the Amish. I love this. Now, you know, I'm not a big people person, but, you know, I'll deal. Look, a little pond with ducks, a little garden, barn and houses, another barn with a chicken and some lambs, and another house and a weeping willow tree. Oh, look, a little dog house. I hadn't seen that before. I'm getting too much glare here. Little village, the church and the Amish and their buggies, wraparound porch, which I love. I mean, and then down here, the quilts hanging, and look at the cats rubbing against the tree. Love it. It immediately went into my cart. I haven't purchased it yet. I may, you know, I'm not fond of oranges and yellows that much, so I will probably be changing out these colors a bit. I'll leave the reds and maybe try and put in more blues and greens because that's what I really like. But if you haven't seen it, Long Dog, new piece called Quilts. The S at the end is actually a Z. Quilts. Love it. So, that's my stitchy news for today. Let me go back to my notes, see what's next. And I'm going to squint. Finishes are next. Yay! Okay, so I'm wearing one of them. Oh, I just turned off my notes. Of course, they'll probably go off anyways while I'm talking, but we'll see. So, lace mashup. If I do say so myself, this is perfection. I'm sorry, I'm talking and you're looking at my boobs. Sorry about that. This is perfection. And it's not, I mean, part of it is because of my knitting, but a large part of it is because of the designer. I love it. I love it. It turned out exactly as I hoped. So this pattern is actually written for fingering weight yarn. And Laura and I played around a bit with lace weight and gauge. We knew we were going to end up with an more open, more airy look than what the pattern originally called for, and that's okay. That's what we wanted. So this is a very frothy, airy lace weight piece. The beads give it some weight. I don't know whether you remember, but this part here was supposed to be nups according to the pattern. I didn't want to do the nups. I wasn't sure if I had enough yarn. I ended up with plenty of yarn, but I did the beads in its place. I also decided to add more beads because I wanted the beads to be present in all of the parts so that there was more flow across the whole piece rather than just on these two wings. So I put beads. This is a 8-row repeat, and on the 8th row, these are center double decreases going up the center here. On the 8th row, I put a bead. I put a bead on it. Instead of a bird, a bead on the center double decrease, and that's there. I love this motif with the lace parts opening and then this little tiny cable here that forms these X's in the circle and then swirling around. I think that is brilliant. As I mentioned before, this is a mashup of Estonian, Shetland, and Japanese lace stitches, hence the name mashup. Down in the bottom here then, so this was the 360 stitch rows, 18 rows of 360 stitches going back and forth. It actually went faster than I expected that it would. I had to kind of struggle to figure out where to put beads on the bottom. Not so much, this is a lace beaded bind off, so that wasn't a big deal. But on these sections here, since it wasn't written into the pattern, So you can see here, I put a bead on this side. This is actually some double yarn overs going around in here. And then this section here was actually 3 knit stitches together. And what this is a bead on the center knit stitch. Now it looks like it's off, like that wouldn't be the center, but it is because it falls that way because of the other yarn overs in the following rows. So after I did that, when I saw this coming up, and you know, when I saw how this laid and then this motif repeated here, I decided to go ahead and put a bead on both the first and second stitch, I believe, is how that worked out. I'd have to go and look at the pattern again to be sure, but I think that's what I did. So then it ended up with the 2 beads kind of on either side, and of course that's a more balanced look. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. It just creates that scattering of beads. And then, like I said, I did a lace bind off, a beaded lace bind off with a bead every fifth bind off, fourth bind off. Something like that. So, again, just a frothy, airy, smaller because of the lace weight, even though I went with a bigger needle size to give it some size. But it is smaller than the fingering weight version. But that's okay. There's still plenty length for it to wrap around like this. I could wear it like this if I wanted, without any problems. So that is that. Totally thrilled with it. And again, this is Lace Mashup by Laura Nelkin. Highly recommend any of Laura's patterns. If you want to learn beaded knitting, she has a craftsy class. She has a craftsy class on lace knitting. She has a craftsy class on beaded lace knitting. That is actually how I started, how I found Laura and how I started knitting beaded lace. So yeah, highly recommended. Cross stitch finish. I put this, a little sneak of this up on Instagram. Wish Upon a Star. This is my 1987 pattern that I totally changed the colors. Actually, I meant to bring the pattern in here so you could, so I could show you just in case you don't remember what the difference is. Hold that thought. Okay, so this was the original. The very pastel mints and peaches and, you know, just the very pastel colors that just screamed 80s at me. I screamed back no. So, and totally changed all the colors. And I cannot, and I had found an inspiration piece on Pinterest. I did a search on Wish Upon a Star quilt and found one with something like these colors. So it's not like I totally went in blind and just, you know, picked whatever. I can't even tell you how thrilled I am with this. It is exactly how I hoped it would be. Now, I posted quite a bit about this band on Stitch Mania. If I had followed the color choices that I had charted out for this, down here, all this would have been different. I did not like how it looked. So I changed even that. Changed colors within colors. And the same with these little flower pieces. All of this was meant to be different colors of these. And I just didn't like them. I didn't like how it looked. Mostly because there was more of this brighter coral in it. Now I did use the brighter coral here. These were the brighter coral. What's that? Some of the black. I think because it was against the turquoise, it looked a lot oranger than it does up here. And as I've said before, I'm not an orange person. So, yeah, I changed that out. I love the retro feel of this, though, those colors blending together. Just love it. And I love the way this flows. The vines flow against the kind of pointy. So, yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Now, So I'm just gonna do some kind of framing for this, but I wanted your opinion. And I'm gonna see if I'm coordinated enough to hold this. So I'm going to frame it so that there's like an inch of fabric showing around this black border. And I was thinking at first that I might see if I could find some black, some of that thicker black rickrack. And if any of you guys know where to source that you know, the wider rickrack, let me know that, because I haven't the faintest idea where to find that. But then I was thinking, you know, I've mentioned before that I have a shit ton of beads. And so I thought this is probably something that came to me as I was laying awake last night. Again, isn't that when I do all my thinking? It seems to be, I say that in every video. So, what would it look like if I used beads? You know how instead of doing like a twisted cord or a chenille or, you know, rickrack around the border, I wouldn't have them this close, I don't think. Let me see if I can space them out some. But what about having these beads as kind of the border? Let me know what you think, if you think that'd just be too weird. I'll probably play with it and see how it looks, and I'll post pictures and get opinions and all that stuff like we do. So those are my finishes. Just love it, just love it. Whips, I believe, is next. Yes, okay. So I have been pretty monogamous. I got pretty monogamous with this to finish this, and with, I've forgotten its name already. Don't get old, people. Just don't get old. Wish Upon a Star. But having said that, I did take Hoity Toity with me to Arizona and worked on this just a little bit. The lighting in my in-laws wasn't the greatest, but it was good enough during the day because, you know, Arizona sunshine, what's not to love? So I did a little bit more of Hoity Toity. Still loving this beautiful thing. And then I also, I think before I left, I had done a little bit more on this. And I decided, I don't know why I can't ever why I can never be totally happy with the colors on this. Yes, I'm changing my mind again. So what I'm thinking is, I don't like the peach. I think I'll keep the peach heart here, just for a little pop of color. But I think I'm gonna take the peach out here and the peach out here. It looks so bad. I'm gonna close this blind again. Oops, where'd it go? All right, yeah. I'm gonna take these peach parts out and replace it. I found, I think replace it with wood smoke, General Art Sampler Thread wood smoke. I was working more on ripping this poor part out, and it struck me, you know, that just says winter to me so much more than this does right now. I'm gonna keep this band atop here the whole way the same, and this will be, I'm sure there's gonna be a matching band on the bottom. So that'll stay the same. And I'm gonna keep the blues the same and use more blues, but I'm gonna use more grays, and I'm gonna use the brown, like the little deer that goes here, I'm gonna make brown. And the little bird, I might do brown too. And I'll need to find a motif over here to do brown just to keep balance in it, because I'm big on balance. But anyways, so I worked a little bit on that and stared at it and, you know, changed my mind. Hopefully I won't change it again. You know, there is a certain freedom, I think, for you guys that are doing it in one color, because you're not going through this every single time you pick it up. Oy vey. All right. Punch needle whip. This is the new one I got. This is the Kate Guillory Briar Cottage Studio Coneflower is this pattern. I got a honkin' big 14-inch hoop for this. Tried to get a 12-inch hoop. They were out of stock, so I just got the 14-inch one. So, having fun with that still. Lots to do on it yet, obviously. Knitting works in progress. So I finished I said I finished this. The only other whip, well, no, not the only other one, duh. The one I'm only actively working on is the Bobble Shawl by Andrea Mowry. And I don't, hold on. One thought at a time. So I took this with me to Arizona, and I did work on this a bit because this is good brainless knitting for when you're watching TV. So I just got a little bit, started working on the brown stripes. So there is that. And what I was going to say, I don't know whether, how many of you know these, have seen these? These are, I was going to look to see what they were called before I started this and I forgot. These are neat little thingies, that technical term. See that little, you can see the slit. Where's my mirror? Mirror. Oh my God, don't get old, people. Can you see the slit in the rubber there? There it is. So your needles slide into this, like this. It's just a nice way to keep your needles contained when you stick it in your project bag so your needles don't pierce your knitting, pull out any of the stitches. You know, I've had multiple times where I've snagged a stitch and had to work to get it back into place. So I will look and find what these are called and put it, you know, either on here or down below or whatever. So, knitting. The other knitting. So one of the gals that I worked with at the yarn store in Sarasota, Good Yarn, excuse me, hold on one second. A Good Yarn, Sarasota, yay. She is a graduate of the Ringling Arts and Design College in Sarasota. She went for interior design. I have a cat about to get into trouble. She went for interior design, but she actually was fired when she was 7 months pregnant, laid off. She started working in the yarn store probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and she got into dyeing yarn, which she does, you know, with her knowledge of color and the way colors combine and play off each other. She has a great eye for designing yarn. But then she got into designing knitwear, and she's phenomenal. She has a great eye. She has a great sense of style. So anyways, I've test knit several pieces for her. She just finished a new piece, and as soon as she showed me the picture, I said, send me the pattern, I'll test knit it for you. So this is Kat wearing her latest piece. She does not have a name for it yet. She names all of her designs after places and historical figures in Sarasota. She is Sarasota born and raised, so there's not many Florida born in Florida, but she is one. So this is, look at that. Love the neckline. Get back here. And the cuffs. So what she has done is she has held a mohair skein together with the regular yarn to create a more furry look. Can't really see it because of the glare. You can see it a little bit better there, so you can see the halo. So that's from the mohair. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that neckline. And then down at the bottom at the waistline, she has done this kind of V-shaped. So most of the sweater, let me find another picture of that. She sent me a close-up. Is in stockinette, and then that is in reverse stockinette. So can you see that? And then the hem is in reverse stockinette as well. So I have swatched for that. And my little swatches here, the colors that I'm using, so I don't have enough of all one color to do a whole sweater. and I'm not buying new yarn. But I did have these two. So, almighty, my hair. What is up with this? Ooh. So I did have these two that are matching mohair and the merino single ply to go with it. And then I'm going to do, so I'm going to start with this up here. This will be the collar. You actually pick up and knit the collar last. But I'll do part of the yoke in these and then join in this. So you can't, let me see. Good. You can see the pinks in there. Isn't that pretty? I've had this yarn for years. This is from a dyer named Saffron Dye Works that is no longer in business. But she was a genius with color. So anyways, this will be the body. This will be the yoke. This yarn is by an indie dyer named JulieSpins. She's on Etsy. She lives in, she's in the Boston area, I believe. She's actually a chemist by day and then a color chemist by night. And again, she's another one that does amazing things with color. I would say there's probably a good third of my fingering weight stash is JulieSpins yarn. It's just gorgeous. So I did my swatch. I haven't gotten any of the instructions yet from Kat because she's working on writing them up. There's my swatch. So whether you can see the beginning part has the mohair held with it. So you can see a little bit of the fuzz. And then down here I get to just the yarn, and then I started the next color, the other color. So I have to do all of these so I can get, because this gauge with the mohair is different than the gauge held without the mohair, and then of course the other yarn. So I have to make sure I'm on gauge with all of them. And then what's going on here is the sweater will be knit in the round, and so when you're knitting something in the round, it's smart to swatch in the round. It's a pain in the butt to swatch in the round, but it's smart to swatch in the round. So what you do is you knit across, here, let's go here to where we have the waste yarn in. You knit across the row, and then when you get to the end, you slide your stitches back over to the first end of the beginning end of the needle, and then you start knitting again, but you have to bring the yarn the whole way around back to the beginning of the needle. So it creates all these annoying loops back here and what feels like a waste of yarn. And you have to be sure that you don't pull these loops too tight, because otherwise you get a swatch that won't block out the whole way, which, as you can see, my little end pieces are curled in because my loops are too tight. But that's okay, because I will be measuring in here for the gauge. I haven't measured for gauge yet. But there is that. I think that is all of my whips. Okay. Haul. We'll talk about haul first, and then we'll talk about Mania starts. Does that sound like a plan? Sure. Why not, honey? Okay, so you guys have seen all these before. These came while I was in Arizona. So, and as I said, I'm a week behind, so I'm seeing everybody on Flosstube show their the Victoria Motto sampler threads monthly thingies. Got that? So this is the primitive. I get both of them, the primitive and the limited. So, like caramel, primitive cocoa, Sunday hayride, penny violets, rustic greens, and other people have said it's hard to see the coloration in that one because it's so dark, but it is. Un momentito. There, you can see it. It is browns and greens. And then sleigh ride. How funny. one is that? And that has some variation too. So these are the Prims. Love them all. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. And then, and I haven't seen as many people doing the primitive ones, so there's those ones. And then the limited edition ones. And I've already noted down some of these for some of my Mania starts. These are the ones that I've seen most people. Although I know there's a difference in some, because I think she had trouble with the demand keeping up or something. But anyways, Pretty in Pink, Easter Special, Sweet Orange. You know how I love orange. Maybe I need to do a giveaway with orange. Best Prim Purple, Golden Dust Yarrow, and Golden Rose, or Garden Rose. So, pretty, pretty, pretty. Now, I also asked her to send me some of her dyed rickrack. So I just asked her for 10 different colors. These are 10 yards of 10 different colors, just a variety. So there is a black in there, but like I said, I want a thicker black, lighter black for that, for mounting that piece if I decide to go that direction. So those are fun. All right, so that's all of that. My attic haul, and I think the only haul I got this week was from the attic. Yeah, besides the flosses, yeah. And that's certainly enough. Yeah. Okay, so first and foremost, I got the little spring chart with the flosses that are included. This piece of fabric is mine. I put it in there because this is actually going to be one of my Mania starts. So that was Little House Needleworks. Welcome Spring. You've all seen it. This is actually a piece of, I think this was 28 count even weave. I'm going to do it over one. So it's going to be like 2.5 inches. It's going to be tiny. I can't wait. That'll be fun. Okay. I had seen Kay Goldman on Instagram working on this Jeanette Douglas piece. So I hopped on that bandwagon and got that at the attic. I don't know if I'm going to work this in the silk that's called for. See what silks I have in my stash that I might use. Undecided yet on that one, but I want to do that justice because that is lovely. Les Gonzalez sampler, Spanish colonial reproduction. I've had my eye on this since I first saw it, and I was happy to grab it from the attic. Oh, and guess who just came home? Hello? Do you want to come and say hi? Would you like to come and say hi?
Who am I saying hi to?
All the ladies and gentlemen in Flosstube land.
Hi.
So, I'm talking to them, not you.
I guess that's my cue to go away now.
Love you dearly, bye. So Misty and Susie, I think, saw my post about this on Instagram, and we were like, oh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. So we might be doing a sal at some point. I don't know when. I don't know when I'll get to this, but I had to have it. The sal that is going to be coming up is from the Home for the Holidays piece. It is the 'Tis the Season. Now, I don't know whether, a lot of people have just mentioned the cardinal. I don't know whether they're planning on just doing the cardinal or doing the whole piece. I'll be doing the whole piece. That starts September 1st. I know, again, Misty, Amy from Amy Loves Toads, Lynette from Homesteading on the Home Front. Those are the ones that come to my mind immediately, are planning on doing this. So if you'd like to do us, if you would like to join us, please do. It doesn't start till September 1st, like I said. I don't have anything besides the pattern at this point. I was thinking that maybe this floss from Victorian Motto, the Garden Rose in this one might be good for this cardinal. 20 yards hopefully would be enough for it and the berries. But yeah, I think that might work, huh? So that is something to keep in mind. But there's several other samplers in here that are gorgeous. But I also love, she has these stockings that are like alphabet band sampler stockings. And I don't know that I necessarily want to do them as stockings, but I think I would love to see if I could figure out a way to do them as one piece in some kind of sampler type of thingy. So we shall see where that ends up. The other one, so this is a pretty kind of Quakerish, love this holly piece here with the stars. That would be a nice small even. I think that is so pretty. And then the other sampler, and I've seen somebody do this recently on Instagram, I don't remember who, Christmas Garden. Is that gorgeous? I was watching Felicity Stitches yesterday, and she mentioned how the motifs she likes, the samplers she likes, are the more like, I forget the word she used, but flowers and bouquets and natural things, not so much the people, not so much the houses. I do like houses. But I think that's where I fall too. I love that. So, lots of things in that one. Now the only other thing I got, well, no, that's not true. I got several pieces of fabric. You like having me all up close and personal like that. Sorry about that. I think I could get every single color of Lakeside Linen and not find one that I didn't like. It was hard to decide. This is Vintage Butter Pecan butter, something like that. This is a 13.5 by 17 piece. So not real big. I don't know if I can get that to come through any better. It's so hard to get a good shot on camera of these fabrics, isn't it? Just doesn't do it justice. Doesn't do it justice at all. Anyway, it has a slightly pink hue that is coming through more on camera, I think, than it really is to the eye, but it does have a pinkish vibe to it. The other one is sterling, and yes, I know I should have taken these out before the video. Mea culpa. This is just gorgeous. This is a skinny piece though, 10 by 26. I really didn't pay enough attention to the size, but God, this is such a pretty piece of fabric. You know me in grays and blues and greens. This is more of a minty blue. No surprise there. Again, it's not coming through at all. I love the coloration on this, the modeling. So pretty. Anyways, that's sterling. And then I had put, where did I put? Oh, the other one I got, I've already kitted up. This is one of my Mania starts. This is navy bean, vintage navy bean. And in the store, this looked more green to me, and that's kind of the color I was going for, but that's okay. It's just a very neutral, I don't even know what to call it, tan, khaki, cream, I don't even know what to call it. But it is going to work well for the piece that I've chosen it for. So, there are those. That is haul. So now, Stitch Mania plans. Okay, so, Stitch Mania, I really enjoyed looking on Stitch, the Facebook group Stitch Mania. Have you heard of that? Yeah. And seeing everybody's plans. So many different varieties, everybody doing what suits them the best. And so that's what I'm going to do. I looked in my X-Stitch app, because I do try and keep everything in there. I'm not good about updating. I have to get all this new stuff in. Excuse me. But I saw that I have 12 whips, 12 started, and 6 kitted. Math, like Steph, 12 plus 6 equals 18. That's about all the more difficult I can get. So, yeah, math. So I'm going to do a mixture of my works, my whips, and my and starts. I don't know why I just paused there and talk about totally losing a train of thought. I'm telling you, people, don't get old. Okay, so I'm going to do a combination. Oh, I think what I'll do, if it works out, I think I might actually have an extra start here, such is life. I'm going to work 2 days on my whips. So one whip one day on the first, one whip on the second. On the third day, I'll start a new project. On the fourth day, I'll do a whip. On the fifth day, I'll do the next whip. On the sixth day, I'll do a new project. So that's how I plan on kind of breaking it up. So what I've done, I've got out all of my new starts here. My whips are going to be everything that you've seen. There's probably a few that you haven't seen, but I don't really have them easily pulled out, so you'll see them eventually. Alright, so this is one of my new starts. I've shown you this before, haven't gotten around to doing it. I've totally changed the colors, of course. Are you seeing a theme here? I'm not going to pull these out. I'll show these in pictures. Probably, maybe I'll try and take pictures and put them at the end of this video. This house is going to be Cottage Blue from Gentle Art Sampler Threads. This house is something else. I don't remember. I just did this yesterday. I'm keeping the kind of the reds for the heart. That might be that house. It's still going to be that red. I think it's the same one. It's still going to have this brown. Still going to be green trees, of course, just different colors. This is all charted for DMC, so I just went through my my fancy floss and found things that I thought would work. So that is one of my new starts. Get stuff sorted here. I talked about this one already. That's another new start. Midsummer Garden. You've seen this one. This is the one I got from XG Designs. I'll take off the tag from the front. So I had ordered the fabric and it came with all the fibers. So that is easy to get started. Spring Jack, I have all kitted up and ready to go. And again, I've showed you that before. I've substituted as many of the Victorian motto threads in here as I could. And then this one is A Moment in Chalk. And again, I have substituted in as many of the Victorian motto threads as I could. This has made sense. And then last but not least is December. And I've had this kitted up for a long time too. So that is all of that. I'm excited to start. This is my first time participating in Stitch Mania since I only started stitching again in October-ish. No, last summer, something like that. So I'm excited to start all the things. The other thing I wanted to share with you, I think I'm up to around 900 subscribers now, so as always, I'm creeping ever closer to that 1,000. I met with Vicky, that clever Clementine, this past Friday. The bags are finished. So she gave them to me. I have a new project bag. And this pretty thing. She used to be a director of a dance studio. She taught dance I think across 3 different studios in the greater Washington area. And at one point her troupe traveled to Beijing to perform, and while there she picked up some of these. So look at the embroidery on that, and the sequins, and the bling. Isn't that pretty? So she gave me my purchase. This was the shopping bag that she gave me my purchase in. So new project bag. All right, so we have, for my knitter friends, the skein of hedgehog. And did I tell you that this yarn was perfect with this bag? Did I tell you, or did I tell you? Just perfect. Now, one of the neat things about Vicky's bags, so she has the strap, she has the lobster claw here. She includes her tag with a little stitch marker. So all that comes with. Vicky makes her own zippers. Who knew? So she gets, and I didn't realize this before, and I'll have to look at the other bags that I have of hers, and I just didn't notice. I looked at this and I said, well, why is the pull different from the zipper, a different color? And she says, oh, I make my own zippers. Oh, silly me. So she gets the tape with the zipper teeth on it, and then she buys the pull separately, and then she mixes and matches. So you have the hot pink with the yellow pull tab, and pretty lining, and then that clever Clementine. That's her business name. Inside it is a gusseted bottom, so it will stand. So perfect for the smaller projects. And with the skein of Hedgehog Warhol. And like I said, this is a skein. This is a colorway that was only available in Knit Stars 2. So you won't find that. As far as I know, they're not selling it separate. I think it's exclusive. So that is for that. I got myself a bag. And of course, it has a turquoise zipper. And it has a purple pull. And it has turquoise liner. So this again is a smaller bag. It would be good for a shawl. A couple skeins of yarn would fit in there. And it again has the stand-up bottom. So that's mine. And then the one for the stitchers is the biggest one, so that you can fit. This would be good. This is, I think, what did I say, 12 by 13, orange zipper, golden pull, golden tab to match the tab on here, lobster claw, stitch marker, or you could use that, your stitchers, for something else. And then pretty yellow lining, that clever Clementine. And again, this is a stand-up bag as well. So it's wider than a lot of your stitching bags, but you'll be able to fit a ton in there. So the chart that I got for my stitching friends is buried. So the chart that you're getting along with this is this one from the attic. I wanted to find something different that not everybody is doing, but I know everybody likes Halloween so much, and of course when you have these kitties, you need a kitty on it, so there you go. I think this is gorgeous. Lots of fun. I think it'll be a quick stitch and something different from what everybody else is doing. So that is for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So we will get there slowly but surely. I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for all your comments. I will see you on Facebook and Instagram. Have a great week, everybody, and keep sending those positive vibes for the job. It has to happen sometime, right? Right. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye.